So welcome to the process of going through the KenKen puzzle. So in this KenKen, we are given a freebie of number 2. So I will start off in this column right here. So the first step, I would go to the 4 minus squares, and I would think in my head that we can no longer use the 2 to get 4 minus, so what else can we get? What other numbers can we use to get 4? And that would be 5 and 1. We don't know what the order would be, but these two boxes would have to be 5 and 1, leaving the remaining boxes to be either 3 or 4. From there, I would go over to the 30 times box and know that it would be 3 different numbers to be multiplied to get to 30. What are the factors that can be multiplied to get to 30? I know 4 is not a factor of 30, so it cannot be 4, and 1 is a factor, but no other two numbers can be multiplied to it to reach 30. So I know it would be 2, 3, and 5. So then the top left square would have to be 4 because the 3 had already been used in that row. So it would have to be 4, meaning this one would have to be 3 because 5 and 1 are still going to be in these two squares. And because we know this and that the 30 times box would have 2, 3, and 5, we know that this one would be a 1. So then we know that we need 8 in this box, so 4 plus 1 is 5, and in these two boxes we think what can be added to 8 to get, what can be added to 5 to get 8, and that would have to be 2 and a 1. So because we already have a 1 in this row, would have to be a 2 here. 2 here, and a 1 here. Then from there, we can work on the 4 minus box. So in the second row, a 1 already exists, so we know it must be a 5. So we know a 5 goes here, and we know a 1 would fill that space. Then we would go on to the 11 plus box, and we know that in row 2, all numbers except 3 and 4 have been used, so they must be 3 and 4. So 3 plus 4 equals 7, and what plus 7 equals 11? It would have to be 4. So then we would know that this one would be 4, and because we cannot have another 4 in this column, that one would have to be 3, and this one would have to be 4. Now we would look at the 2 divided box here, and we would think of the things that we could divide to get to 2. So we know there is 4 divided by 2, however the 4 is already used in this column, so it would have to be 2 divided by 1. And we know the order of the 2 and the 1 in these squares because there is already a 1 present in the first column. So we'd put 2 here, 1 there. We would now look at the 10 plus box where the third row is missing a 3 and a 5, so the boxes must have the 3 and the 5 equaling 8. So then we would need a 2 added to the 8 to make 10. So we know these ones would have to be a 5 and a 3, but then this one would have to be a 2. Now we would look at the 9 plus box and know that it must be a 4 and a 5. But there's already a 4 in the fourth column, so it must be a 5, and then we are able to put a 4 in this box. Now we look back at the 30 times box, and we know that the middle box must be a 2 because a 3 and a 5 have already been used. We can put a 2 there. So now we can go back to the 9 plus box and know that we need a 1, and what is 5 plus 1 is 6, so we know that a 3 would have to come into this column. Now we can return up to the 30 times box and know that a 5 is missing from this column, and the 3 would be missing from this column. So now we would return to the 10 plus box, and we know that 3 and 5 plus 2, that would equal 10. However, we already have a 3 in this column, so this one would have to be 5, and this one would have to be 3. So that answers our question, finding this middle box. It would have to be 5. And we can finish the rest of the KenKen square and add it up to double check.